The story begins with a girl laughing at the MC, asking him to show everyone how pathetic he looks when frustrated. She tells him to entertain her. She adds that just being childhood friends with him is already bad enough. At that moment he felt like something inside him had snapped. Ruaki Shiki is not just a normal girl. She's a super popular idol and the granddaughter of Towaki, chairman of the massive Tikai Group, a huge corporation that holds control over Japan. Her wealth and power are on a completely different level from ordinary people, making her seem like a picture-perfect princess. In contrast, the boy's name is Kazuma Suzuki, a gloomy and plain guy with no girlfriend or even friends in general. He's basically the poster child for a social outcast. If he has any distinguishing feature, it's being the childhood friend of the great Rua Takayashiki, and that's about it. That's why he's always lived under Rua's shadow. But he doesn't wish to be special like her. He just wants to be normal, have friends, and maybe even get a girlfriend. He once told Rua about it, and her response was she asked if he was stupid, saying that a social outcast like him should know his place. She added that his only value was being the childhood friend of the great Rua, and that had already used up all his life's good fortune. She made sure he understood his place. Rua told him again to stay in his lane, and even added that his face should know its limits based on his birth. The words Rua had spoken to him since childhood weighed down on him like a curse. But still, yearning for normality, he welcomed the spring of his first year of high school. While reading a novel, his phone suddenly beeped with a notification. He checked it and saw a message from Rua telling him to come to the station at 3 today because she was going to karaoke with Aicha and the others. He then thought of Ayacha, a flashy Jaira girl he had never even spoken to. Rua continued messaging him, reminding him that he had said he wanted friends and a girlfriend. She added that the best thing he could do was join the elite group and that he needed to take a step forward if he wanted to change. Kazuma thought this was his chance. He wanted to change, so he dressed up as best he could. He even gathered the courage to visit a hair salon. At the karaoke, he opened the door, ready to reveal a new version of himself. As he entered, the room was filled with Rua's friends, and everyone immediately started laughing and pointing at him. They questioned how he actually showed up, called him gross, and mocked him for even getting a haircut. The girls kept chattering, saying there was no way, and that they could even smell the salon on him. Rua then told her friends not to laugh, saying that he had tried his hardest to look good. She also laughed after that. Kazuma realized what this whole event was really about. Rua walked closer to him and asked why he was just standing there. She told him to cry for her and bet 10,000 yen that he would start bawling. Kazuma then asked if he had done something so bad that he deserved this kind of treatment. He asked again if he had done anything. Rua responded that it was obvious. She pointed at him and exclaimed that it was because he was her slave and that he should show her how pathetic he looked when frustrated. She ordered him to entertain her. With an evil smile, she added that just having someone like him as her childhood friend was already awful enough. Just like that, Kazuma felt something inside him snap. He realized that it was actually the sound of their bond breaking. He suddenly agreed with her, saying he felt the same way. He told her they should end their friendship right there and then. Rua was left stunned by his response. She started yelling, asking what he was saying, and questioning who he thought he was. He responded by asking if she hadn't just said she hated him. She shouted back, telling him not to be ridiculous and calling him an idiot. She added that he had no right, that she could hate him all she wanted, but he wasn't allowed to hate her back. Kazuma realized that this was the true peak of Japanism. To think someone like this girl was at the top of idol popularity. What a world we live in. He suddenly slammed the table and walked out. Before leaving, he reminded her that he meant every word he said. Rua was left speechless. One of her friends called Kazuma's action lame and said he should stop acting cool. Another friend told Rua she didn't need to care about Kazuma. Aicha suddenly spotted something at the table. There were now cracks in it and she asked if it was broken. Rua's friend started questioning whether having powers was possible. Another friend disagreed, saying it was already broken and that no one could break a table with their bare hands unless they weren't human. Another friend agreed. Rua is left shivering and her friend asks if what's being said is true, but she doesn't respond. Rua then shouts that she'll never forgive Kazuma for ending their friendship. Kazuma feels free now. He strangely feels refreshed and the scenery looks brighter than usual. He starts questioning why he had been taking orders from someone like Rua all this time. Now he feels he'd rather spend his high school life alone than bow before that beast in human clothing. He realizes that from now on he doesn't need to live as her shadow anymore. He is now free. That night, the chairman of the Tikai Group and the headmaster of Tikai Academy, Takashiki Tao, is seen reading papers. Rua's cousin, Takashiki Sakura, appears to be speaking with him. Suddenly, Rua comes up to him calling him grandfather and he is excited to see her. She walks up while complaining that Kazuma was so mean to her today and that he told her he wanted to end their friendship. Sakura then asks Rua if that's true and adds that maybe Kazuma was just bored. Rua's anger continues to fume as she calls Kazuma a jerk and says he had never stood up to her before. Sakura looks at Rua after hearing her call Kazuma a jerk and suddenly asks if Rua might have said something terrible to him. Rua quickly denies it, saying it's not true. She adds that it's not like she only said things like because he's a slave or having him as her childhood friend is awful enough. She says that's all she said. Sakura responds that it's quite a terrible thing to say to someone. Her grandfather agrees, saying it's natural for Kazuma to be angry after hearing that. Rua is surprised her grandfather took Kazuma's side. She quickly denies any serious intent, claiming she was just teasing him a little. She explains that as soon as Kazuma started high school, he suddenly began talking about wanting friends and a girlfriend. She asks if that isn't strange. With rage, she shouts that it isn't normal. She adds that Kazuma has her, the world's cutest princess Rua, always by his side, yet he wants to be close with other people, especially other girls. She finds that ridiculous. She says that's why she was just a little bit mean. She argues that a little teasing never hurt anyone. She adds that no one else in this world understands him more than she does and that she loves him. Her grandfather suddenly agrees, saying she's right and that Kazuma is wrong. Sakura watches the doting side of him emerge. Sakura then comments that if Rua wants to make up, she should be the one to. Before she can finish, Rua exclaims that there's no way she'll do it. Rua then asks Sakura if she's Kazuma's mentor, suggesting that she should fix the situation somehow and make Kazuma apologize to her, the cute Ruakin, and even make him say he loves her and kiss her. Sakura smiles and mentions that a kiss might be too much. She then asks Rua's grandfather if he plans to make Kazuma Rua's husband. He agrees, saying that's why he assigns Sakura as Kazuma's mentor to teach him combat techniques and leadership skills. He adds that Rua likes Kazuma and that someone with Kazuma's talent is rare. Sakura agrees with Kazuma's talent, saying she has never seen anyone like him. She explains that since elementary school, Kazuma's grades had always been straight threes. He deliberately got average scores to blend in with those around him. It was also he could stay in Rua's shadow. If he ever got serious, he wouldn't just get straight fives. The entire Japan and maybe even the whole world would be in an uproar. She adds that he was incredibly popular with girls and she even had to transfer countless girls who fell for him. Yet, because of that, Kazuma has no awareness of how popular he actually is. Hearing this boosts Rua's ego, and she confidently says that it's because he belongs to her. The grandfather agrees and adds that it makes him worthy to be the heir of the Tikai group. Sakura remains silent, thinking about how now that Kazuma has ended his friendship with Ruashan, he no longer needs to suppress his abilities in sports, academics, and even romance. Things might get very complicated. The next morning, there's a lot of chatter in the hallway about how someone named Suzuki Kazuma tried to defy Princess Rua. As Kazuma walks his way to class, he notices a desk and chair that has a piece of paper taped to them that says, "No seat for you." LOL. Kazuma realizes how things are now. He had a vague idea before, but now he knows for sure. His childhood friend, the girl, the super rich Aries and popular idol, is the worst kind of person there is. Now then, in this situation there are usually two options. Return the desk and chair to their proper positions and attend class without making a fuss. Most students would usually choose this option when facing this kind of treatment. Go to the staff room, but that's not an option for him. This is because this is Tikai Academy. Tikai Academy's mission is to cultivate S-class talent and make Tikai the best in the world. It's known to the public as the S-Class Academy. Studies, sports, entertainment. Top performers in each field receive tuition and dormitory waivers, attracting elite scholarship students from across the nation. Those with outstanding talents are considered upper class. The rest, the ordinary students, are lower class. The caste system sometimes subtly, sometimes blatantly controls the school. The most famous and influential person in Tikai is this girl, Princess Rua Takashiki Rua. Plus, the headmaster is her grandfather. So, of course, the bald homeroom teacher is sweet on Rua. If Kazuma brought complaints to the staff room, the outcome would be crystal clear. So he chooses option 1. Return the desk and chairs to their proper positions and attend class without making a fuss or not. Since he had already made up his mind to live alone, there was a third option. He takes out his pen and writes, "Since that's the case, I will study by myself." It's an Order from Takashiki-san, so please attend accordingly. Suzuki Kazuma. The students are left questioning if he can really do that and if he doesn't fear Princess Rua. Without another word, Kazuma walks away. Feeling it would be troublesome if someone found him, Kazuma decides to go somewhere out of sight. He soon finds a quiet place and thinks of getting inside. It's the underground library, a place most students and even teachers probably don't know about. Only a bookworm like him would have heard of it from a senior in the library committee. It's the perfect secret place for now. Kazuma just wants to live a normal life since he defied Rua. Making friends or getting a girlfriend is probably impossible. If that's the case, he wants her to at least let him live peacefully by himself. As he opens another door, he finds a girl about to change her clothes. She gets freaked out. At that moment, he had no idea that his attempt to live a peaceful life would begin with girls who are anything but, and that his days could never again be called quiet. Meanwhile, Rua is waiting in class, expecting Kazuma to come and apologize soon. On YouTube, Rua greets her audience saying she's everyone's idol Ruahime, also known as Takeshiki Rua. She has 1 million subscribers. She talks about today's topic, things that totally ticked me off recently. She explains that the other day she went to karaoke with some girls from her class. Obviously only girls because, as she claims, boys are scary to her. She complains that one of the boys was a total buzzkill, just sitting. They're all grumpy. Halfway through, he even said he was going home, which killed the vibe. Rua tells her supporters that if the party's popping, no one should be the one to ruin it. One for all and all for one, she says that's how it should work. She then shares some good news, mentioning that she has a new gig. Rua announces that she's teaming up with a brand new voice actress, Minato Akan, to form a unit and release a CD. She adds that a main Chan is in the same agency and the same school as her, and she's so happy about it. Rua explains that the debut event will be next Sunday at Shine Mall and that it's totally free to attend. She asks everyone to come. She then says goodbye. The video soon fills with comments. There's always that one person who just can't read the room. I'll beat the one who embarrassed Rua. Congrats on forming the unit. They shouldn't pair Rua with someone who drags her down. The agency should treasure her more. Who's Minato? A main? I googled it and found nothing. Supporting you forever, Rua. Meanwhile, back in the underground library, Kazuma apologizes to the girl and introduces himself as Kazuma from class 1 to 3. She introduces herself back, saying she's a Mainadu from class 3 and apologizes for raising her voice earlier. Kazuma takes the blame for not checking properly before entering. He asks if she also heard about the place from the library committee senpai. Minato agrees. Kazuma realizes he wasn't the only one told about this secret place. As she fixes her shorts and Minato tells him she's fine now. Apologizes for keeping him waiting. Kazuma doesn't say anything for a moment, then asks her why she's in gym clothes and more importantly why she's changing in the library in the first place. Minato hurriedly explains that she was looking for a place to practice singing and dancing and remembered the underground library someone once showed her. She quickly adds that she's an actual voice actress and has an upcoming unit live event. Kazuma responds saying she's from the entertainment world just like his childhood friend. Several entertainers attend Tikai Academy. Students especially selected because the school has high hopes for them. He also notices that she even brought a full-length mirror, which shows how dedicated she is. He then asks her about her class. Minato mumbles and says that when she arrived at school this morning, her desk and chair had been moved into the hallway. There was a sign that read, "No seat for you." Kazuma realizes that he's heard something similar before. He also notices that's probably why she has tears in her eyes a moment ago. Suddenly, his phone lights up with a notification. He checks and sees a series of messages from Rua. She's asking where he is and if he isn't late. She asks if he saw her video from yesterday and how everyone is saying he's a jerk. Rua continues asking what she should do next. Maybe leak his name in her next video so her fans could swarm him. She tells him to come drag his pitiful desk into the classroom. She also tells him that if he kneels on the ground and begs, she might forgive him. Without hesitation, Kazuma clicks the block button. Rua is now blocked. Kazuma then asks Minato why she's going through something like that and if she isn't a special scholarship student. She quickly denies it, saying it's not true. She explains that even though she's a voice actress, she's not popular at all. And both her face and her voice are like that too. Kazuma responds by saying he can't see her face well because of her bangs. He adds that her voice sounds pretty cute, like the sound of a bell rolling, and thinks it's a pleasantly memorable voice. Minato is suddenly flattered by his words. She turns away, denying that it's cute, and says there are many people with better voices in the idol and voice actress world. Compared to someone like Rua Takiki, she feels like she's nothing. She adds that even so, someone like her still ended up forming a unit with Ruzin, which is probably why she got bullied like that. She continues mentioning that even yesterday on her social media, she got a ton of comments saying that if she teamed up with Ruahime, Rua's status would drop. Kazuma can't help but think about how awful Rua's fans are. Guessing pigs really attract pigs. He suddenly asks Minato why she ended up teaming up with that pig. Referring to Rua, Minato is surprised by Kazuma's words. She questions what he means by pig and he quickly apologizes, realizing he said it out loud. He clarifies that he meant Takehiki Rua. She quickly moves closer, warning him about what could happen if someone overheard him bad-mouthing Rua at school. Kazuma replies that no one is around. She agrees and starts reasoning. She explains that it was the AY's decision. Since Rua and her are in the same agency, they thought pairing her, someone plain and gloomy, would make Rua stand out more. Kazuma thinks it's a harsh way to put it. He wonders if it's Tikai Music, the same agency connected to the massive Tikai group. He has no doubt that even the desk and chair incident was Rua's idea. Even if it was the AY's plan, Rua probably just couldn't stand being paired with someone beneath her. Just as he's thinking this, Minato suddenly says she's okay being background support. She adds that it's a rare opportunity she's been given, and at the very least she doesn't want to drag anyone down. She says she wants to give it everything she's got. Kazuma asks her if that's the reason she came to practice and she agrees. He smiles and says that's pretty cool of her. Seeing his reaction, she looks at him as he calls her name. He then offers to keep her company during her practice, mentioning that all he can really do is give feedback from a total amateur's perspective. He holds out his hand asking if that's okay with her. Minato takes his hand with a big smile and says she'll be counting on him. At that moment, Kazuma notices something. Up close he realizes that Minato is way cuter than that pig Rua. At lunch break, Kazuma walks through the hallway thinking about how Minato has been practicing non-stop since morning. Worried she might get dehydrated, he bought 2 bottles. Suddenly someone shouts his name. It's Rua. She asks where he's been and what he thinks he's doing skipping class. Kazuma is completely unfazed now. Rua continues, demanding to know why he's ignoring her and how he even blocked her on Messenger. She reminds him that no one is allowed to ignore her. Then she embarrasses herself, suggesting that maybe it's because her face is so beautiful that he can't look directly at her. She asks if he's embarrassed or something. One of her followers suddenly comes up from behind, questioning Kazuma about why he's giving Rua the silent treatment and saying it's rude. This puppet's name is Asano, the baseball club's promising scholarship student. Kazuma wonders if this puppet has nothing better to do than follow Rua around. If he has time to waste like that, he should try following Minato-sen's example instead. Asano gets angrier as Kazuma stays silent, accusing him of mocking him with his expression. Asano gets ready to punch him, demanding that he say something. As he throws the punch, it goes straight through Kazuma. And Asano is left wondering if he really punched him because he didn't feel anything at all. Kazuma is now behind Asano. Asano looks back, shocked, wondering when Kazuma moved. Other students start chattering, questioning if Asano really missed and calling him lame. Some even start wondering if Asano is weak. Kazuma then calmly asks Asano if something is wrong, suggesting he might be out of shape. Asano, furious, gets ready to throw another punch but Rua stops him. He looks at her surprised. Rua reminds him that the only one allowed to seriously mess with Kazuma is her. She says Asano can only lay a hand on him if she explicitly orders it and that he should know his place. Completely confused, Asano agrees. Kazuma then calls out to Rua. Her face lights up asking what he wants. He then asks if she thought that was cool or something. She's obviously caught off guard. Before she can respond, Kazuma calmly tells her to listen closely. There's absolutely no one allowed to mess with him or bully him. He lifts his head and looks at her, telling her that he doesn't care who she is. As he walks away, he simply tells her to leave him alone. Rua falls to her knees, defeated. Other students rush to help her, asking if she's okay, and another questions what Kazuma's problem is. But Rua, sitting there, finds herself thinking that what he just did was really cool. 1 week later, Minato is practicing her dancing when she suddenly trips and falls. Kazuma quickly catches her and asks if she's okay. She apologizes again, saying it happens every time. Kazuma tells her not to worry about it. He wouldn't want her getting hurt before the real event. Minato then compliments him, saying how amazing he is. No matter where he is, every time she trips, he always somehow catches her. Kazuma simply responds that it's nothing special. Minato then denies it, saying it's not true. She mentions that ever since that day Kazuma had been watching over her, encouraging her, and that he had no idea how much of a help he had been. She shows her gratitude by thanking him deeply. Kazuma is surprised by her thanks. No one had ever said something like that to him before. He responds saying he didn't do anything special. He then reminds her that the past just returned to the center stage and wouldn't it be better to just walk back normally without spinning. He asks her if she always loses her balance there. Minato admits it wouldn't look good on stage if that happened. Kazuma thinks of an idea and suggests she jump back in one move, saying it might even stand out on stage. She immediately tells him it's impossible. The center of the stage is at least 5 m away. Kazuma then shows her how to use the strength in her knees. He demonstrates the move and Minato is shocked. Nervously she says it's impossible for her. She asks him what he just did, saying he bounced like he was on a trampoline or something and that normal people can't do that. She suddenly asks if his PG grades are off the charts or something. Kazuma tells her no, that since elementary school he had always gotten solid 3s out of 5. Minato looks at him surprised and asks what she's seeing exactly. Kazuma comments on her posture, saying it's a bit off. She agrees, admitting she knows and that she's never been able to fix her slouch. The choreography coach even got mad at her for it. Kazuma says nothing for a moment, then suggests she take advantage of that slouch instead. He shows her how to use it naturally in her movements and she copies what he's doing. He then tells her to keep going straight into Satsuki's dance from there. Minato manages to hit the dance moves while keeping her slouched posture, turning it into part of her style. Kazuma feels proud of his work and he thinks she looks super cute. Minato then gets exhausted but smiles, commenting that the movements are finally starting to click. Kazuma tells her that's great and even suggests asking the costume designer to make her a set of cat ears and a tail. Minato laughs and agrees, but suddenly mentions that she can't really use that idea. Kazuma asks why and she says that with that kind of look she wouldn't match well with Ruzan. She explains that her role is to make Rua shine after all. Kazuma is left speechless, asking her if she's really okay with that. Minato agrees, saying that to begin with, singing while dancing isn't her specialty. She adds that she actually wants Kazuma to watch her practice her acting instead. After all, she's a voice actor. She explains that she wants to perform as an anime character and that's why she's giving her all to the work in front of her now, hoping that even just a little, it will lead to voice acting opportunities. Kazuma responds saying he understands. In his eyes, Minato is so positive and when she talks about voice acting she looks full of life. He can really feel how much she loves her work. He suddenly tells her that he's envious. She's confused so he explains that it's because he doesn't really have any dreams or goals. Minato then asks if there's nothing he wants to be. Kazuma mentions that he just wants to be ordinary. He says he's fine with not being anything special. He just wants an ordinary life that he can be proud of and say, "That's who I am." Minato smiles and tells him that's fine. She adds that since he's Kazuma, she's sure he can become ordinary or even become anything he wants. This bright, positive girl suddenly makes him realize something. For the first time, Kazuma smiles and thanks her. Minato notices and suddenly brings up something else she's been wondering. She mentions hearing the rumor about how he got into a fight with Rua. She adds that she thought it might have been because of her. Kazuma tells her it's not the case. Minato quickly asks if Rua isn't his childhood friend and if Minato being there is putting him in a tough spot. He tells her again that it's not like that. He says Rua is no longer his childhood friend or anything like that anymore, so he wasn't thinking anything of it. Minato then asks if that's really true. She calls his name and he asks what it is. She moves closer to him and says if would he want to? Suddenly the door slams open. It's Rua and she does not look happy at all. She demands to know what Minato is doing with Kazuma in a place like this. Rua stands there acting like a wife, even though her chances are already long gone. As for Minato, she's stunned and genuinely scared to see Rua.